listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Narrative Podcast. The Narrative Podcast is the home of original people peace, original people reciprocity, and original people positivity. The Narrative Podcast promotes positive reinforcement of original people and original people culture. The Narrative Podcast provides positive frames of reference about original people and original people culture. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast, and I am your host, Halsey Allen. Welcome all my narrators. So how's everybody doing this evening? On this wonderful Wednesday, it's hump day. At the halfway mark. Weekend right around the corner. Gearing up for Labor Day. So fun fact, or not so fun fact rather, for the upcoming holiday. Just some a bit of history about the origins of Labor Day. Did you know Labor Day was originally a slave holiday? On plantations that would give the slaves a day off that they did not have to work. And that's kind of the origins of Labor Day. So if you didn't know, now you know. But as we celebrated, kind of like the same reason why we celebrate Juneteenth. It's just really to grill and chill, connect with family, and relax. Because it is a labor holiday, and most of us have labor intense 9 to 5s. But anyway, welcome to the Narrative Podcast. If you didn't know, or I guess the new listeners don't know, how I usually start things off is I walk you through a brief overview of my podcast before diving into the content. But just something new that I just started. I found something that works a little bit more efficiently. I used to plug all my projects, things I want people to support at the very end. But now I find out, it condenses the time if I plug everything at the beginning. So, having said that, I'm going to plug everything for my listening audience to support, to keep the platform going. And then I'm going to walk you through a brief overview of the Narrative Podcast and then dive on into the content before I close out. Or close out after the content, my bad. So let's start at the top. First thing I would like for the listener audience to support, obviously, it's the platform, the Narrative Podcast itself. So first and foremost, no, I broadcast 2 times during the weekday. Once during the 2 to 3 times during the weekday, and then once on the weekend. And I have 2 separate formats, 2 separate format styles. Now, for the weekday format style, I just have 2 sections. I deliver positive news articles, and then I deliver commentary. And so I'll tell you why a little bit later on when I get to that part. But just know I only have two sections during the weekday, and I have 5 sections on the weekend. So 2 different format styles. But same product, the Narrator Podcast. So please support the platform, and the way you can support it is to follow me on YouTube, and also follow me on X, formerly Twitter. And the reason why you want to follow me on both of those mediums is because this platform that I'm currently broadcasting on uploads to YouTube and X automatically. So as soon as I'm done recording, it automatically goes to YouTube and X. Anywhere else you see the link to the Narrative Podcast, any other platform you see the link to the Narrative Podcast, it's because I had to manually go to that site and put it there. But this platform shares it to YouTube and X automatically. So to stay up to date with the most current episode of the Narrative Podcast, follow me on YouTube and X. And my handle on YouTube is Halsey Allen. And I don't have a page specifically for the Narrative Podcast. It's just my viewer channel. But if you go into my videos on my YouTube channel and just click my videos, you will see every single last episode of the Narrative Podcast in chronological order. So, to get the latest updates, subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notification bell, notification all, and you will be formally informed about the newest episode of the Narrative Podcast. And then also, share it on whatever your preferred platform is from the YouTube. Just share it back to whatever platform you want to share it back on. And then also follow me on X. And my handle is Halsey Allen on X as well. I stay good at Halsey Allen on X. And then what you want to do when you get to X is click on the Narrative Podcast link and use all the options. And so what are all the options? Download, that's the most important thing. So download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast. So when you click on the Narrative Podcast link, you will see all these icons. And the first icon you should see is an arrow pointing down. That's the download button. That's the most important, one for the algorithm. So do that. Click the download button. And then next to the download button, you'll see a little heart. That's the like button. Click on the heart-shaped like button. And then next to the like button is a comment box. Leave me a comment in the comment box. And then after you see the little comment box, you share it back, the share button, and share it to whatever your favorite platform to share media content. Share it all across digital media. Yeah. So all those options aren't available on YouTube, but all those options are available on X. So download, comment, like, and share. It doesn't have to be in that specific order. Just, please do all of them. But if you can only do one, the most important one is the download feature. So please click the download feature. Download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast to fully support the platform. Appreciate you for supporting the platform so far, tuning in on a regular basis. I appreciate you. Thank you, but keep on downloading all episodes of the Narrative Podcast. Thank you very much. Next thing I would like to plug is my personal poetry blog on blogger.com. And the name of my personal poetry blog is called hallziespoetrycorner. And the address to Hallzies Poetry Corner on blogger.com is www.mrhallziesblogs.com. And what Hallzies Poetry Corner is obviously a blog where I post poetry on. And the poetry that I post on that blog is very unique, because all the poetry that I post on that blog it's spontaneously written in the moment, meaning I don't contemplate on what type of poem that I'm going to write, what I'm going to title the piece. It just literally pops into my head, and then I upload it to that blog site. And another unique thing about it is, when you read one of my poems, you will see, how intricate, how detailed, and how intentional each piece seems. But as intentional as they seem, they're completely random. I didn't, contemplate on anything that I was going to write about. Another unique thing about it is, the versatility of all the poems. I literally have one poem for any type of subject matter you can think of. As a matter of fact, the tagline for my poetry blog is Hallzies Poetry Corner. Poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions. And when you read through all the poems on my blog, you will see that each and every one of them lives up to that tagline. So yeah, go check that out, Hallzies Poetry Corner on blogger.com. And the way you support my poems on Hallzies Poetry Corner is to go to the link www.mrhallziesblogs.com and then share the link www.mrhallziesblogs.com or a poem featured on Hallzies Poetry Corner across all platforms. So whatever platform you like to share things to, make sure you're sharing the link to Hallzies Poetry Corner or a poem featured on Hallzies Poetry Corner across all platforms. And then another way you can support is also on that blog site. It has a like button in the shape of a heart, so click the heart-shaped like button. And then also leave me a comment. All the poems on that blog site have a comment box on them, so you can leave me a comment on a piece of poetry featured on that blog site. And as a matter of fact, I just wrote a brand new poem today on the Hallzies Poetry Corner, and it's titled Landmines. So go check out Landmines today on Hallzies Poetry Corner. And then remember to like it, share it, and leave a comment when you get to the blog site. And the name of my blog site again is called Hallzies Poetry Corner. And the tagline is Hallzies Poetry Corner, poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions. So go check out Hallzies Poetry Corner today. Next thing I want to plug is my book of poetry that I've written. And the name of the book is called The Black Card. The Black Card is a 30-page book of poetry. It's an all-encompassing look at us as a people, a snapshot, if you will. It's just like 30 pieces that are reflective of everything we encounter and go through and experience as original people or black people. And it's just basically like, a day in the life of slash survival guide slash tradition slash how to. But it's many things. But what it definitely is definitely creative, definitely insightful. If you're an original man or original woman, you will automatically just feel feel an instant connection to it. All the poems on that inside of that book will instantly resonate with your spirit. You will feel an instant connection to each and every last one of those poems. So yeah, go check it out today. Not check it out, purchase it rather. And currently it's only available on one medium, and that's poetizer.com. And if you're unfamiliar with poetizer.com, that's basically like a social media platform for aspiring writers. And then in that social media space, writers can network with each other, like interact with one another, and then on their own page they can blog their work. And then they also have other platforms that they can go to, like different writing prompts for all genres of writing. So they got a room for people to write short stories. So you go into that room and the writing prompt would be write a short story about a dog. And then they got another room for the essay writers, write an essay about XYZ. And then they got a room for poets, write a poem about whatever. But point being, poetizer.com is a social media platform for aspiring writers of all genres, short stories, novel writings, essay writings, and of course poetry. That's the main genre of writing that the site caters to, is poets. It's in the name, poetizer.com. But another feature that they have on that site is a self-publishing feature. So anybody that is an active member of Poetizer has the option to turn their work into a book using their self-publishing features. And the cool thing about their self-publishing features is that they're very cost-effective. They rival all the major ones. They rival Kindle. They rival Amazon. They offer all the exact, features all the major self-publishing sites offer, but at a fraction of the cost. So you can produce a pretty decent, piece of work, a book, for under $1,000. So, but anyway, they also have a virtual online bookstore where they sell, people's books that are members of that community. So go check my book title out the Black Card, go to poetizer.com, look inside their virtual online bookstore and look for my title, The Black Card, written by me, Halsey Allen. And yeah, go purchase the Black Card today or get your Black Card revoked. And that's all the projects I would like to plug at this time. I'll keep you up to date when my new ones come out. But for now, that's all I'm plugging. And I'm going to walk you through a brief overview of the Narrator Podcast before diving into the content. So starting at the top, Tippy, the name. I named my podcast the Narrator Podcast as I don't like the false narrative that the media weaves about original people and original people culture. So what I wanted to do to counter the media's inaccurate, false depiction of our people and our culture is to design a platform where I'm playing up our strengths and showcasing and highlighting us at our best instead of our worst, celebrating all our accomplishments and, providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. Hence the title, The Narrative Podcast. And I think that's a perfect segue also for my tagline. The Narrative Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original people culture. How do I destroy the negative stereotypes about our people and our culture? By providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And that's entirely what the Narrative Podcast is all about. I'm here to, provide positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. Also to bring awareness to the listening audience is to why it's important to responsibly utilize your platforms to share positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And then also to encourage the listening audience to responsibly utilize their platforms to share positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. Which brings me to my next point. I refer to my target listening audience as my narrators. And what do I mean by narrators? So if you're familiar, if you've ever written a book, or if you, well, I know we've all watched television shows, or, before television, like it was radio. And basically a narrator is someone that provides full context of what's going on in the story using their voice. So that's why I call my target listening audience my narrators. I want you guys to provide full context of our story using your voice. So how do you provide full context and use your voice? Well, we're living in the digital information age, and we share and communicate online. We interact with one another online. We gather information, and we, tell our own stories using digital media. So you can tell a positive story or you can tell a negative story. The choice is yours. As a people, I think we should be telling a positive story. Not just a positive story, but an accurate story about who we are as a people. And we're kings and queens, gods and goddesses of the universe. And that's, the story we should be telling. How do you tell that? Well, living in this modern age, pretty much all platforms have a bio section. And in the bio section, the person's page that bio section is about, the owner of the bio section, they usually, tell the best possible, version of themselves that they, want to tell. So, like, say if the person's into cars, in their bio section, they'll be really descriptive, like, how they got into cars, what their favorite model of cars is, and then they'll upload content reflective of their enjoyment of cars. On the retailer side, because like retailers, they use the digital space too to tell the audience about their product. So in their bio section, they tell, give a backstory about their company, their brand, and then, put in supporting details to let the, reader know how good their brand is, and they'll upload content that supports or reinforces what's in the bio section. And what's in the bio section is usually the best interpretation or iteration of yourselves or of your product. And then you upload content to reinforce what's in the bio section. So said all that to say, people use digital media to tell or narrate their own stories. And that's why I call my target listening audience my narrators, because we should be telling or narrating our own stories. And the reason why we should do that is because if history hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us this. If you don't tell your own story will be told for you. And that's precisely what the media is doing, to us as a people. They're telling our stories for us. And the story that they want to tell us and the rest of the world is that we are lazy, is that we are violent, is that we do nothing but complain, is that, we can't get along with one another. We don't have any unity. We don't have any morals. We're greedy. We're liars. And, just the whole, like, every single trope and stereotype you can think about our people, all that got conjured up with the media. So basically they use propaganda about our people and our culture to, inflict psychological harm to us. And then also warp the minds of people outside of our culture, to turn people outside of our culture against us, using this imagery, using this content. So imagery is very important. This is why we need to tell our own stories, because, we got an unfactual story about our people and our culture being told by the media. So we need to reclaim our power and tell our own stories. So on our digital platforms, we need to be uploading content that is reflective of who we are as a people. We need to be uploading family orientated content, Like, we take care of our families, we take care of our children. Because the negative stereotypes, is that fathers, black fathers, are absent in the household, don't take care of their children. So we need to be uploading content reflective of, yes, we do take care of our children. And we also need to be uploading content reflective of that we are, business owners and philanthropists and problem solvers, educators, excellent students. This is like the content we need to be uploading. What we don't want to do is, use our platform to play into the negative stereotypes that the media weaves about our people and our culture. We don't need to be reinforcing the negative stereotypes by regurgitating them online. We don't need to be regurgitating the image of the gangbanger. We don't need to be regurgitating the image of the drug dealer or the drug user. We don't need to be regurgitating, ladies, sisters, not picking on you. We don't need to be regurgitating the image of the angry black woman. We don't need to be regurgitating the images of the whore. And then, fellas, we don't need to be regurgitating the images of the criminal, of the guy on the corner with the pants sagging all the way down to the kneecaps. Regurgitating the image of the uneducated brother, the ignorant, lazy brother. We don't need to be, regurgitating those type of images online. So, but basically, got a little long-winded. That's why I refer to my target listening audience as my narrators and the job of a narrator. So anytime I say hello, greet you with hello, my narrators, all I'm saying is people that share positive frames of reference. That's it. That's what I mean when I call you my narrator. Next order of business, the Narrator podcast is a positive space, meaning I don't engage in any negative self-talk, any negative isms. I reserve this space for positivity. The purpose of the Narrator podcast is to unify our people, uplift and edify our people using positive frames of reference about our people. That's what the Narrative podcast is all about. I don't engage in gossip and slander, and I don't drag brothers and sisters through the mud. I don't kick brothers and sisters while they down. I don't encourage my listening audience to do it either. As a matter of fact, I try to discourage my listening audience from engaging in, gossip and just all forms of pettiness online, because that is, solely what's destroying us as a people. So what we want to do is like unify and stick together, celebrate each other's accomplishments and achievements, and basically the Narrative podcast is all about positive reinforcement. Just a place, a safe space, a love space. We don't have too many of those online. So, it's all about positivity, reciprocity, positive frames of reference. That's what the Narrative podcast is all about. Gossip-free zone. I do, however, speak about current events, But however, the way I speak about current events is basically whatever's going on in the world, I'm unpacking it from our perspective, original people's perspective. What's that mean for us? As a people, whatever's going on in the world, whether it be globally, nationally, or just something out of our community, I'm just, breaking it down from our perspective, and how I basically usually frame it up when I'm covering current events. I cover it from the bigger picture scenario. So, like, basically anything negative that happens in our community, the underlying causes usually is, systemic oppression and systematic programming and conditioning. Whatever is, like, if one of our people, one of our famous people, Hollywood, an entertainer or somebody just famous in our community, if they're in the news for something negative, you can almost emphatically trace it back to systemic oppression and systematic programming and conditioning. Like, whatever's going on, in their lives, or why they're in the news for something negative, it can be traced back to, systemic oppression and systematic programming and conditioning. You see, we've been systematically programmed and conditioned to deviate from our true nature. And what is our true nature? Our true nature is kings and queens, gods and goddesses. So if we behave and engage in anything less than regal, it's because we've been programmed and conditioned to do so. We've been programmed and conditioned by the media, all this negativity, the media negatively using our images and our likenesses to push an agenda. You see? So if all we're seeing is negativity all the time in all forms of media, in movies, in television shows, we hear it in the music, we read it in literature, it'll take root in our subconscious, and we'll act out on this negativity on a subconscious level. And then, systematically, how that plays a role, they got us boxed in. We can't go here, we can't go there, we can't do this, we can't do that. So basically, that's how I try to, frame it up. It's just basically like, point at the real problem through all the noise, through all the white noise, to get to the root of, what's really going on. That's how I try to, break down whatever's, going on in the world through our eyes. So, like I said, I never try to use this platform to kick a brother or sister while they're down, or to just overtly talk bad or roast people for whatever they're engaged in, whatever they're involved in. This is a platform where I'm uplifting and edifying our people, using positive frames of reference, and, just speaking positivity. However, this is a place of truth. If somebody outside of, or somebody within our culture is intentionally utilizing their platforms to, embrace negative stereotypes about our people and our culture, intentionally for monetary gain, like they intentionally embracing negative stereotypes just to check a bag, I will call, said individual out on that for doing that. But other than that, I mind my own business, mind the business paying me, and the business that's paying me is delivering positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. So, yeah. Next thing you should know, this is a time-sensitive space. I try not to exceed 1 hour per broadcast, and the reason why I do that is basically to keep the listening audience fully attentive to my content. And then also to prevent myself from delivering or making my content redundant. So I don't want to beat you over the head with the message. I just want to deliver the message. I want the message to be clear. I want the message to be concise, digestible. And I can't do that, if I'm just talking in circles with no end in sight, and if I don't, have any good transitions to different subjects. If I'm just talking in circles, like basically going on a glorified rant, that's the quickest way to, lose your audience's attention. And I want to keep you enthralled because it's an all audio platform. It's not, I'm not in your face. I don't have a camera on me. You can't see me. I can't see you. So I'm just using my words. So I want to keep you as interested as possible. I want to inform you. And I also want to entertain you as well. So I definitely don't want to, deliver boring content. And the surest way to bore somebody is just to keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. So I try to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. And then last but not least, I refer to our people as original people. I refer to our people as original people for two reasons. Reason number one is historically accurate. And then reason number two is to unify us as a people. So what I mean by that is historically accurate. We were and are the original beings of this planet. We existed on every single corner of the globe you can think of. We inhabited every single, square inch of this planet. We was here thousands of years before everybody. That's what I mean by original people. Not only was we here first, we pretty much invented everything, every modern day invention that you can think of. We had a hand in inventing it if we didn't, in fact, invent it. Now, I can definitely, unequivocally say, here in America, they teach us lies about the Industrial Revolution when in reality slaves really actually invented a good 80-90% of everything that they teach us in school about the Industrial Revolution. Like, why would white people try to invent things to make our lives easier? If you just really sit back and think about it. Horseless buggy, airplane, cotton gin, come on now. We was inventing all those things. That's why they came up with the patent system. So they wouldn't have to give us credit for inventing it. And they wouldn't have to give us credit in history for inventing it. They wanted to rewrite history in their image. Why they call it his story. But anyway, on the historical side, that's why I call our people original people. And then the sub point that I want to tack onto that is I just every segment I want to point out the egregious false narrative of slavery. The powers that shouldn't be just overtly try to make slavery the most definitive time period of our existence. They go out of their way to associate our images and our likenesses with slavery. They falsely say, now, didn't I just get through saying we are the original people, meaning we was here before everybody. So if we existed before everybody, do you think we was just all huddled around in one spot, like we got to everywhere we existed on the planet on slave boats when we was here thousands of years before slavery? Does that make sense? They want to teach us that every single last one of us got to wherever we're currently living because our ancestors got there on a slave boat. Especially here in the Americas. Does that really make sense? That they kept going, that the Spaniards kept going to Africa, getting African slaves for hundreds of years, that the Europeans kept going to Africa and getting Africans for hundreds of years? Or did they just do what colonizers do, is go visit a landmass and enslave the people that originally inhabited said landmass? Ain't that like more economically cheaper than going sailing halfway around the world for hundreds of years? Their government pays them like thousands of dollars for X amount of slaves, and they only bring it back a fraction of what they were supposed to go there for, because half of them escaped, the other half died on the way back to. Are you kidding me? But yeah, there's all kinds of false, narratives about slavery. They just have all these museums and, sitting up there telling us the slaves did this and the slaves did that, and we just don't question it. We go along right with the psychological programming and conditioning. We allow them just to say the most ridiculous things about slavery. And the reason why they just promote and push slavery so much, why they spend so many thousands of dollars, so many millions of dollars pushing the image of slavery, of African slaves, is because they want us to be in a fearful mindset. They want to push the image of the docile slavery. They want to embed that fear in us. They want to keep on replaying a period in time where we couldn't fight back. And that's the false narrative part of it, because during slavery, we fought back all through slavery. Not only did we fight back, we made a whole lot of them people that enslave us wish they would have left us alone. But it doesn't get recorded accurately in history. Like, do you think Nat Turner was the only revolutionary slave we had? You think we only had one Harriet Tubman? So, that's all I want to point out is just the false narrative that keeps on getting pushed about slavery by the powers that shouldn't be. They just want to show us all these negative images of slavery and try to just, psychologically embed and instill that fear in us to make us, try to, in an attempt to make us docile and attempt to have us just be complicit with the way things are and, not want to, stand up and overthrow their system for fear of having the chains put back on us. That's the whole purpose of the slave thing. It's trauma conditioning. It's why all these slave movies are the biggest grossing movies in Hollywood. Whereas, natural tragic events in history that happen to other people's culture is so far and few in between. Like, there's not a whole handful of the Vietnam War. There's less than a dozen movies, capturing that. I think it's only one movie for the Holocaust, ain't it? It's only one, right? But it was so horrific, it's only one movie. But slavery, there's over a dozen movies with a slave title or a slave theme to them. But last but not least, on the unity side, why I refer to our people as original people is really is an effort to unify us as a people. Because there are many different types of us, hailing from different land masses, speaking different languages, and have different viewpoints. But the thing that we got in common is that we're all original people. We was all here first. We can all trace our lineage back to the original point of origin for all civilization. We all have high concentrations of carbon, aka melanin, and then we all share an unspoken bond. We're just kind of mystically connected to one another. No matter how different your culture is, no matter, we all have similarities, is what I'm saying. And we can all, identify with one another to some certain capacity. We're all fighting the same oppressor, just in a different form. Like, we all have that same, opposition, unfortunately. But other than that, we are all, one people. At least that's what people outside of our culture say. Because people outside of our culture that look at us, just see our exterior, they don't say that. The first word that don't come out of their mouth is like, oh, you're Jamaican, you're Haitian, you're Trini, you from the Bahamas, you from this part of Africa, you from that part of Africa. They just say you're black. That's all they say. They just say you're black. only our people make the different distinctions with one another, but everybody outside our culture, they just call us black. So, by me saying original people, that covers every nationality you can think of. It's one unified, one universal code. Original people is the universal code for our people. No matter, what nationality you are. So that's it, and that's all. I think you should be all caught up on all the nuances of the Narrative Podcast. If you still, having a gray area or still quite unsure about what it is I'm attempting to do here, I'm well over 300 episodes in. You can go to, wherever you get your podcast source from, go through my episode log to catch yourself up to speed for the Narrative Podcast. But now that you're formally informed, I'm going to dive on into the content for this weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast. So as I stated earlier, the weekday edition, I have two sections. Section 1 is called my positive news section. And the reason why I feel I need a positive news section is because we're constantly being bombarded with negative news all day, every day, in all forms of media. Something negative on television, something negative in movies, something negative in the music, something negative in books we read, magazines, all these things depicting our images and our likenesses in a negative way. And so from, just having all these negative frames of reference about us, that'll just have you, it'll take a root in your subconscious and just have you having a negative disposition, which is what the programming is intended to do. They want to have you, with a bleak, dismal outlook on life. That's why they, assemble the news like that. That's why they portray us like that in the movies. That's why they portray our images and our likenesses like that on television, in advertisements. They want to push these stereotypical roles of our people and associate us with all things negative. So the reason why I do positive news articles is just really to, break that cycle and, pull up the receipts that positive things do happen in our community. We are leading the charge in change. We have change makers in our community. We have people striving. We have people, being leaders, being pillars in the community. And so that's, what the whole purpose of me doing the positive news articles, just putting out the positive frame of reference that positive things happen in our community. So without any further ado, I'm going to get with the first positive news articles this evening on this weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast. So for my first positive news article, the headline reads, Black dad and daughter making history helping 1,000 families become homeowners. And the father's name is Dante Lee, and his daughter's name is Kayla. Together, they have designed the first ever father and daughter duo, helping over 1,000 families become homeowners in 12 months. And they're doing this with their lending firm called Black Home Ownership. And to find out more about that, go to blackhomeownership.com. Then they also have a app as well. They got an app called affordablehousing.net. And what that is, it's an application that lists houses on an online database that are below market value. So all the houses on affordablehousing.net are foreclosed properties that start selling for about $150,000 to $250,000. So affordable housing, of course, fixer-uppers, but you know, any tool in the toolbox to help you become a homeowner. And you need to, like, at a certain age, you need to just have your own house at some point. I mean, some people would, like, don't see the problem in apartments and condominiums, but at some point you need your own house. Some point you need your own land. But yeah, so for more press inquiries about that program, go to info@blackownership.com. And then for general questions, just call 614-595-6063. And then also go to DanteLee.com. He's a serial entrepreneur. You'll see everything he's involved in. He does also, you know, social media strategies, and he puts together events and writes books and audio, ebooks, all that. Anything, you know, digitally you can think of, he's involved in. So you want to go over to DanteLee.com to see his newest projects he has. But let's give a Warm Narrative Podcast round of applause to this father-daughter duo, Dante Lee and Kyla, for their Black Home Ownership Program and their application called affordablehousing.net. All right, moving right along. Next positive news article on this weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast. The headline reads, Black educator of 17 years is teaching school districts how to help millions of illiterate students. And the sister's name is Erica Battle. Erica is an educator, obviously. She's been in the teaching profession for 17 years, as it says in the title. She's also a leader and consultant in the educational field. So what she does to combat illiteracy, she incorporates a program called R, You Actively Reading, and it's actually an acronym. It stands for, so it's R, A.R.E. And they just what it stands for is actively reading and engaging. And what that is it's a annotation system that acts as a guide to help adolescents navigate through the social and emotional issues of life. So that's also an acronym called SEL, S-E-L, Social, Emotional, and Life Issues. And SEL fosters well-being. So they're teaching students how to become literate, and also health and wellness tips along with that as well. And then the R program empowers students to engage more deeply with text. It also inspires comprehension and critical thinking skills. If your school would like to if you're an educator and you believe your students would benefit from using her program, reach out to her and contact her at Erica at lifechanges.com and press inquiries also at Erica at lifechanges.com. So, join me into giving our sister Erica Battle a warm narrative podcast round of applause for leading the charge on illiteracy with her program called Are You Actively Reading and Engaging? And last but not least, for my final positive news article this week on this weekday edition of the Narrator Podcast, the headline reads, Black-owned diaper and wipes company launches in Target stores nationwide. And the proprietor and founder of this company, his name is Unique James Gibson. And I believe I'm pronouncing the brother's name right. It looks like a different iteration of unique, because unique is spelled with a U, N-I-Q-U-E. But his name is spelled E-N-I-Q-U-E. So I'm thinking that's still unique. But yeah. So brother, I'm gonna just call him James Gibson. His company is called the Happy Hughes Co. But Happy Hughes is a diaper brand, and it's available at Target.com. And basically he started the company for all inclusions, because typically on most pamper boxes you don't see any of our children. You don't see our children represented in advertisements for diapers or anything, diaper related. So he wanted to create a brand where he's doing that, giving our babies inclusion. So it actually says that when you go to the website and click on the About section at happyhues.com, and hue as in like light, like a ray of light, HUES. So as it says in his About section, he was just out shopping, out and about with his daughter, who was 3 at the time, and noticed none of her training pants featured characters that looked like her. So that's basically why he created the brand for all inclusions, because there aren't any advertisements or anything that remotely resembles our children. So you got to be one of the first, and he's the first in that field to provide an alternative for our children. And everything is all about visuals. You have to see yourself at an early age. You have to know your history. You got to see people that look like you, be around people that look like you. It all starts there in the mind at the early age. Like when you sitting up in your playpen, seeing images, you can, like, when you become grown, you vaguely remember something. It's called olfactic memories. But anyway, got a little long-winded. He also has expanded the line. He's now doing big ups, which is training pants. But the brand is called The Happy Hues Co. Short for company, but it's spelled The Happy Hues CO. But the website is Hues, thehappyhues.com. So I don't know, go figure. But go support that brand. Join me into giving our brother, Unique Jones Gibson, a Warm Narrative podcast round of applause for his unique diaper brand, The Happy Hues Co. And that'll do it this evening for all the positive news articles that I've accumulated. My next section is my current event section. And what this section deals with is self-explanatory. It deals with current events, like whatever's happening around the world, globally, nationally, or things coming out, headlines within our community. I'm just basically delivering, commentary on that, usually. And then on the off chance where I don't have anything, current issues to discuss, I deliver a PSA just on, observation, that we need to work on as a people. And by we, I mean me as well, because I'm an original man. So yeah, that includes me. And I think tonight might be one of those nights, because nothing's really going on in the world worth discussing. Oh, I did jump ahead of myself, so I call my current issues section my speaking point. section. So in my speaking point section, I usually cover just, breaking news, trending topics, nationally, globally, or, something within our community. But I don't really have anything to talk about tonight, as everything going on in our community is just basically gossip. Unless you've been living under a rock, Steve Harvey, he just went viral. I'm not going to talk about that. Who else went viral that I'm not really going to talk about? Because it's kind of self-explanatory. Umar Johnson then called out all the kings of comedy, or Cedric and Ricky Smiley. Well, Ricky Smiley wasn't on the original Kings of Comedy, but he called out Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, and D.L. Hughley, and I'm not going to weigh in on that either, because I don't feel that's, what I do here in my space, because it's just I don't cover surface deep stuff, things you can just judge on the surface how that looks. There's no reason to even talk about it, in my opinion, on my platform. That's not what I do here. I try to uplift and edify my people, and not saying it's not worth talking about, period, but I feel it's just not worth my energy talking about it. I mean, opinions are subjective, but on that note, it just kind of is what it is. And I think another thing happening is, Uncle Luke Campbell calling out Tariq Nasheed. So globally, nationally, national headlines, we still talking about the elections. We still believe in, there's only two candidates running for president, because that's all the publicity, that's all they're covering. They're not covering, all the other candidates. They're not covering Cornel West. They're not covering RFK. So, like I said, I don't really feel it's a whole lot to talk about in the world right now. R.I.P. Roger Fortson, R.I.P. Sonya Macy. I said I was going to keep their name, ringing, so we don't forget with all this stuff going on. R.I.P. Devontae Mitchell. So on that note, there's really kind of nothing I really feel too much talking about things that require, a platform to talk about it on. Like I just named, those are the biggest things happening within our community, and nothing really too much happening in the world or in the nation right now that you don't already know about. So having said that, it looks like a PSA type of day. And the PSA is don't take this entertainment seriously. So we got a lot of people in the entertainment industry going back and forth online, and I guess the takeaway is don't take the entertainment seriously. Keep in mind that these people are entertainers. They get paid to entertain. If they had a legitimate, you know, qualms with one another, they would address said qualms in a different fashion. But they're doing it for sensationalism. They're doing it to acquire clicks and likes and whatever. They're getting something out of it. Trust and believe they're getting something out of it. They're just not online talking all that rah-rah for nothing. Like, they're getting something out of the deal. You know, for all this controversy, they're getting something out of it. So they're not just raising all that rah-rah for nothing. But I guess my PSA is just like, don't get caught up in that mix. Don't get distracted. We literally got bigger fish to fry. As I already told you on my last segment, which I believe was Monday, we got a looming possibility for another government shutdown imminent. Mpox has already been declared, a national state of emergency, and it's slowly making its way to European countries. It's rapidly spreading across Africa. Not slowly, it's rapidly spreading across Africa. But it's slowly making its way towards European countries. And so the last thing that shut down the world was that C-19, and that started in China. So now the mpox is starting in Africa. But other than that, there ain't really nothing really pressing I need to speak about, other than just don't take this entertainment seriously. Like, if these people who are going back and forth online had so much visceral for each other, they would have already did something. They would have already pulled up on, whoever they called herself being at odds with, they would have already pulled up. So having said all that, just let the entertainers entertain. Don't get distracted by the entertainment. 'Cause it's just a show. It's just a show. It's all smoke and mirrors. They say cut, end scene, all that. So it ain't, as the young people say, it's not real rap. That's all. That's my PSA for today. I think I probably will have another topic for the next time I do a weekday upload of the Narrative Podcast. It'll probably be either tomorrow or Friday for another weekday episode, but definitely a full episode coming this weekend of the Narrative Podcast. But this episode is officially over. Thank you for all the love and support. Sending you love, life, healing energy over everything you got going on surrounding your circumstances right now. Join me this week for another weekday episode of the Narrative Podcast, and then this weekend for another full episode of the Narrative Podcast. But this one is officially over. I'm Halsey Allen. I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time. And I'm asking you to help me change the narrative by becoming a narrator. And while I'm changing the narrative on my end, one episode at a time. As a narrator, you can help me change the narrative on your end, one social media post at a time. Until next time, Halsey Allen in the Narrator Podcast, signing off, and it's like that.
You are now listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.